Hi everyone, we are back with the sixth part of this video series where we are making a Construct 2 game project from scratch. And Corey, as always, is here with me. Say hi, Corey.
Hey, how's it going?
Alright, so we left off with a lot of easy things to sort of tidy up. For a long time in the previous videos, these buttons for touch input were not cleaned up, so I just really quickly rounded off the corners so that the buttons can be placed wherever feels most natural after testing on actual tablet devices. And then we had added a camera sprite last time so that we could do more sophisticated camera controls, including adding a screen shake, which we added. So I'm going to now make that camera sprite invisible since we don't have to see it anymore for debugging purposes. And then, let's see, I have a list going of the other things we're going to do in this particular video. Oh, another thing that I did is I expanded the duration, the length of the actual level, and I just sort of multiplied or copied the tile map so that it takes the entire, I just repeated it until it fills up the entire length of the level. Eventually we'll add more variety to the level as it progresses, and at the end we're probably going to add the exterior and entrance of some kind of temple or some kind of building like that, something that looks probably kind of Greco-Roman. And the other thing that I started doing, which is pretty exciting, Corey made some really nice art for some new enemies that are going to be the theme of this particular level, and those are falcons instead of the big bat monsters, and falcon men that I am playfully calling Birdman, and no offense to any copyright or trademark holders. This is a generic Birdman, this is not the Birdman.
Right.
So you can see me hide the boxes and stuff, but you can see there he is at idle. Oh, I should mention, as it should be obvious now, I cloned the hero spriter file so that I could quickly hit the ground running. I tested some preliminary code in Spriter using just a clone of the hero, and then once that was working, I quickly imported the Corey's nice artwork into this cloned hero folder and edited the animations that actually count. The Birdman won't have an air bash attack, so I just left that one as is for now. But the death, the getting hit, walking, attacking, and things like that. Again, this Birdman character is not going to jump or fall like that, so I haven't changed those yet. But anyway, so once I had the Birdman spriter file, I just imported it into the spriter layout, as you can see here. And then I also created a clone of this bat spawner, right, and I made it Birdman spawner. I should call it Birdman spawner, right. Just to test how things work, this is actually the first game project where I'm going to be creating several instances of the same spriter object at once for enemies, so I needed to quickly do some testing to make sure things would work the way I wanted them to, as far as, if you'll see, just like with the player, there is a sort of body collision box. Let's see here. So you could see that body collision box to detect if the Birdman gets hit. And then also during his attack, where's Punch? During his attack, at that frame, there is also an attack box, which I did not edit yet. Eventually, I'll make it the appropriate place and size. Something like this. But anyway, I just wanted all that stuff in there, and I figured it would be easy if the player and all enemies had the same exact names for the same animations, just so I don't have to second guess naming conventions and stuff like that. So, as you saw, I imported him in to the spriter layout, and then I have these objects that spawn them, so I can show you the code for that. So we have if the Birdman spawner, if its X position is less than viewport right, which is the right hand side of the screen, of the FG layer, which is the layer that the player and all enemies and pickup items are on, minus 30. So remember, we have this frame here taking up a little more than 30 pixels on each side, so I'm compensating for that. Then we spawn one of the Birdman spriter files, and we set its animation to walk. We set it to mirrored because it's going to be walking from the right to the left, and as you see in the spriter file, he's by default he's looking the wrong way or to the right, so we needed him to flip. And then we also destroy the spawner itself. So I can run that quickly and show you how that's all working. Let me grab my controller.
That's interesting because
Go ahead.
I thought I drew him in such a way where he was facing the left, but I didn't know if you had to flip him for a specific purpose or.
Nope, you definitely did, and I just for some reason when I was replacing the hero art with the there they are. When I was replacing the hero art, I flipped it because I was replacing it frame by frame, so I just flipped it to make it match the hero, which in hindsight I didn't need to do at all. But again, like if I just stick with the same convention, if flipped always means facing left and not flipped always means facing right for everything, then it'll just be easier for me to keep track of and not get confused. So anyway, and then I have one more event that allowed me to check if when I have multiple instances of the spriter object, when I do a collision check of one sprite onto the collision sprite that's associated with the spriter object, does it know which spriter object that I should trigger the hit animation for? And it's beautiful. It works exactly as I would hope. It knows because it's all in one family that the body box sprite of that Birdman, it knows when I detect collision. I'll show you the event right now. So let's see, that is right up here. Okay, so if the hero entity attack box is overlapping Birdman entity box, that's the body box, then we just trigger the Birdman spriter file animation to hit. And because this sprite is associated with this spriter file, if you look, see under object types, Birdman sprites, it's in this folder. You'll see that all of these sprites are grouped in this one folder, including the invisible collision sprites. And then if you look here, container Birdman, Birdman is the spriter object. So all of the things are associated with each other as sort of one cohesive entity, so to speak. So that's why we can do this one event, and we don't have to do any fancy checking like, like in the past in other authoring systems that didn't have the sort of built-in family grouping, you would have to set a variable in each item, and like one would be set to 1 and the other 2, and then it would have to be, you'd have to double check if the variable is the same on those two objects to pair them together, or some such convoluted nastiness. But it's just a built-in feature that just works when you add things to the same container in Construct, and it just works. Like, as soon as you import a spriter object, it'll just work the way you want it to. So that's nice. Alright, so now a good thing to do, I just noticed I have not yet done anything to subtract from hit points or anything like that. The flying enemies for this first level, we're just going to give 1 hit point so that they just instantly die if the hero punches them, unless he does the slam move. I forgot what I called it, the air slam or something? What was it called? Air bash. Air bash. So the air bash sends it flying. It kind of transforms the enemy into a projectile that can hurt and stun other enemies if it hits it. But the walking enemies, the humanoid enemies, I want them to take on average like 2 hits, or at least 2 hits from your weakest mode where you don't have any special power. So we're going to need hit points for them, and I think I already previously added a hit points variable. So let's see. Yep, hit points, and I set it to 2. Okay. So what we can do is, oops, wrong event sheet. There we go. So here it is, the event that makes him trigger the gut hit animation. So we will also, Birdman, where is set value? Parents, character maps, initial or instance values. Oh, we don't want to add to, sorry. Set val, no, subtract from, there we go. Subtract from hit points 1. Alright, and then the other thing that I need to figure out is, obviously these Birdmen should be moving. I think I don't want to use a platformer behavior movement directly on a spriter object because it would use the entire bounding box for the... you know what? Maybe that's not a bit... Let me quickly test something. I have a feeling this is going to actually scale the spriter object, which I don't want. But let's test it. Let's see if Birdman is now really skinny. Oops, I'm running the wrong layout, but let's see. Yeah, he's small. Okay. So yeah, we can't do it that way. Alright, so it would use this whole big box as the platformer movement, which might bite us in the butt later on if we want to make levels that are more sophisticated with higher platforms or walls that they can hit that make them stop or turn around or things like that. So I think I'm going to fake the platform movement because so far all of our level design goes across horizontally, like straight across. The easiest way to make him walk left and right is to just give him a bullet movement. So let's do that. Let's see here. Behavior and bullet. And then speed, that's going to be way too fast. Let's see. We'll try something like 40. Gravity, no. Set angle, no. Enabled. Okay, so I think we need the initial angle, so I keep doing that. Gameplay events, there we go. So when we spawn him, on the right hand side walking left, we're going to set his angle of motion to be, I think, 180. We'll see. If not, I'll put it back to 0, but I think that's correct. Alright, so alright, we'll test what we have so far, even though there won't be any way to tell that his hit points has gone down, but at least now he should be walking. Although if I have my angles wrong, they're walking off screen. Oh no, that's good. Nice. Very nice. And I already have an event to set them back to the idle animation afterwards, so obviously some AI needs to get done there to make them go back to walking and attack when they're within range and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah.
So, but we're at, and that speed of walking seemed pretty good to me.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
We have them walking, actually moving. That is interesting. I've never tried that. I think what I'm going to do now is add... I'm going to basically simulate gravity and y velocity through a variable. So I'm going to click instance variables and I'm going to do y velocity. And I'm going to misspell velocity just in case it would cause a problem to not do so. And I might not even get to this part yet, but eventually I want it so that when he's displaying, when he gets hit, he'll like hop up a little bit and move back, just like classic video games. But I might not do that right now. But at the very least, we'll do the backward movement. So gameplay events. So let's go back to the place where we hit him. And that is right here. So we're going to add a sub-event. Sub-event. And we're going to check the position of this box, so Birdman, this one here, if it's X position, where's compare X? Compare X is greater than, we'll do greater or equal, to the X coordinate of the player box, X position. Not vector X. Okay, player box X. So this means this basically means if the Birdman is to the right of the player.
Right.
So then we're going to... I could just automatically flip him around, but that has its own can of worms. I think it's more flexible to... we'll add another variable called hit direction, hit velocity. Alright. So now, what I will do is go to the wrong event sheet as always. And, alright, so if the Birdman is to the right, and so therefore he should move backwards, which would be also to the right. So we're going to set the Birdman's x velocity. So set value x velocity. Hit velocity. That's what it was. To the right will be a positive number. So we'll say 50. His walking speed is 40 pixels a second. So we'll do 50, and that might be too high a number. We'll see. We'll tweak these numbers after we get the logic working, and then we can do copy and paste this and say and edit this and change greater or equal to less than. And now we're going to change this to negative 50. And now we can make it so we will, when the hit animation is finished, actually no, we won't do that. We will do event above, Birdman, compare, instance variable, hit points is not equal to 0. Add another condition every so many seconds. 0. That's 100th of a second, I think.
Yeah, that would be.
So that's 50 times a second, I think. Alright, so we are going to change its x position. So set x. Let me think. Actually, I just remembered I'm using a bullet movement, so I could. Maybe I should do it that way. I've never done it this way before, but it could work. Because it's a bullet, if you don't mind a little experimenting, one thing that we could try is actually give this bullet gravity. I
believe in other parts of the world they're called boulets.
That is true. Speed 40. Let's try this really quickly. Give it a gravity of 100. Let's see if they slow to a stop.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm worried about, is that because they're touching the ground, they're going to grind to a halt from gravity.
Right, yeah.
But I don't know if that's how it works. I've never used it that way. Oh! They went through the ground. That's interesting. So they do not react to the solid ground object the way a platformer does. That's interesting. Oh, I think there's a setting. Like I said, I've never used this before. Bounce off solids. Here we go. Of course, I don't want to bounce, but they might also mean just stop. So let's see what happens.
Right. They don't want to fight. They're just killing themselves. So.
Ooh.
Oh, what?
Up in the air. That's interesting. So they did literally bounce and change direction.
Yeah.
Okay, no, we don't want that either. Okay. So, well, I learned something at least. So I won't use the... Okay, well, I can do something like... Let's see. Yeah, I think I'll just stick with the way I was going to go. It might take a little more programming, but it's a lot less guessing how features are going to act and then compensating for it. So we'll just do it the way I was thinking in the first place. Why am I checking hit points? That's not right. It should have been hit velocity for one thing. I'm glad I noticed that now. I think that's every 200ths of a second, so that's... Is that 50 times a second, or am I not doing math properly?
Yeah, that should be.
I think so, yeah. Alright, so now we're going to set hit velocity to... Oops. I have to click here to paste it. There's a trick. You can copy actions, and then you can either paste it... if there's already multiple actions, you could click in there and then paste. Or you can click here, and then if you paste an action, it pastes it in the proper spot. So I can save a little time. So we're going to set hit velocity to itself. Birdman. Velocity times 0. 8, I'm being completely, so 80% of itself. And then I'll just really quickly add a sub-event. Oh, wait, I forgot to change its X position. Birdman, set its X position to its own X position. Where is it? Where's Birdman? There he is. Birdman. X velocity. Oh, no, not X velocity. X position plus hit velocity. Alright, so I'm going to put that up there. Every 50 times a second, it's going to, yeah, which means these numbers are too high. We'll do something more like 10 to start with. And of 10. So 50 times a second. If the hit velocity is not 0, it's going to reduce it after moving him horizontally in that kind of direction. That's another good point, though. When he gets hit, we will temporarily pause his built-in bullet movement. Birdman, right, yeah. So set enabled to disabled. Done. And then when hit finishes, for now, we'll not do idle, we'll do walk, which I remember is uppercase. And we will re-enable. Alright, so now when he gets hit, he should slide backward. The other thing we need to do is I'm just going to add a sub-event, add sub-event that is going to check if the variable hit velocity. Oh, actually, no, we're going to check, we're going to compare two values. And we're going to do the absolute, which I think is ABS, and then parentheses. And then do, so the absolute value of the hit velocity is less or equal to 1. We're going to set it to 0. That way his velocity will stop. Okay, let's see what's happening so far. I'm going to save my progress, run layout. Hate doing that. Okay. This time for sure. Well, oh, I didn't turn off the bouncing.
Oh, yeah.
Still, the slide back worked. They slide back too much, but it certainly works nicely. And because they bounce, they're facing the wrong way. But those are non-issues, or they just get fixed immediately by me turning back off that bouncing thing. So now I'm going to pick the right layout first before I run it. And I'm going to click here because sometimes it doesn't pop up. There we go. I forgot gravity. Darn it. All right. We're getting there. Gravity 0.
Ah, yeah.
There we go. One more time. One layout. Oops. Nice. It's overly fast that they fly back, but it feels good. Like it's
right.
very rewarding to send them sliding back like that. Nice. And obviously we do not yet have them blow up once you've hit them twice, so that'll be the next easy step. So, in fact, I'll just leave them sliding back that quickly for now. I'm starting to like it. It's not exactly what I had in mind, but it just feels good to do.
Right.
All right, so let's see here. Velocity. All right, what was I? All right, kill them. So in this very thing, we do subtract 1 from hit points. So what we're going to do is add something that says, where is it? Yeah, it'll just be a new line, I guess. Add another condition. So that's something that we might want to do. It might be more gratifying if the Birdman doesn't blow up until he's done sliding back and doing that chirp, and then he would blow up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe I'll do it that way. So instead of just doing... So you see right here where they slide back?
Mm-hmm.
This is where they definitely stop sliding back after getting hit. So what we could do is add a sub-event to this. Add a sub-event and say Birdman compare... Let's see, compare instance variable hit points less or equal to 0, because at some point we might have attacks that hit them for less than 1 hit point at a time, so it might go right from hit points of 1 to -3 or whatever. So you always check for hit points as less than or equal to something when you want to kill it. And then so now we are going to have the Birdman spawn an object. Can we do that? I don't know if I've ever done it directly from a spriter object. I think you can. Alright, we'll do spawn. No, maybe not. Create. Shoot. Guess not. But that's no big deal. We can literally just create an object. Create object. Explosion on layer FG. And the X position will be the Birdman spriter object. Birdman. Okay. X. And the Y will be the Y. Did you have something you wanted to say or ask?
Well, I was going to say, are you considering this explosion to be sort of a placeholder thing? Like we might have some custom, maybe not custom per enemy, but something that, I don't know, fits a little... I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong by any means. It's still fun and nice to look at, but I didn't know if that was your intention or if...
right. In order to fit the original prototype on Amos on a stock A500, like the sort of demo level, I was just using the one explosion for all enemies, but that is certainly not necessarily how the end game will be. Yeah, there's a good chance we're going to up the RAM requirement to 1 meg total, which is very typical for like most A500s and A600s that people have. I think all A600s had a meg of RAM standard. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. But at any rate, even most people with A500s, they ended up upgrading the RAM. So odds are we'll be able to have at least 2 different death style animations per level. So we can definitely figure that out.
My thought there was mainly just artistically, like maybe if eventually we invent some sort of lore that decides that needs to look different for some reason.
Exactly,
like
definitely.
That could definitely change it. But it would still, like you said, it would probably have to be universal. So
well, yeah, but it doesn't necessarily have to be universal for every enemy. It can be, like maybe you have 2 variants per level or something like that. And then each level it can be different if we wanted it to. Or like if you wanted it to look like the creature wasn't just dying but being sort of dispelled back into an other dimension or something, then it could be a more interesting looking magical effect as opposed to a standard fiery explosion. So it was always intended to be functional but very replaceable if we decide.
Although admittedly things like that explosion were used so commonly in like old retro games that it does kind of give it that flavor,
Yeah, it's very
arcade style.
Right, very standard arcade sort of communication. Just like in fighting games, you're not supposed to think the person is literally eating a fresh roast turkey from the trash.
Oh, they are.
It just symbolizes a health pickup, and it's visually more interesting and appealing than a first aid kit, which is just a box with a cross on it.
Right.
So anyway, however, the Belmonts do love their wall meat. That's part of canon. All right, so we create the explosion. We're gonna also have to play the explosion sound. And we are going to destroy the Birdman object, which I think is under miscellaneous, destroy. And we will, we'll give 10 more points to the player. Why not? Okay. let's see if we can now kill the birdmen. And let's make sure we're on the right layout. Yay, it popped up. Alright. One. Oh, he blew up immediately. That was interesting. Everyone else is working.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe it's counting the collision twice for some reason or something.
Yeah, it must be. That's a good point. So let's see here. So when we have this, oh yeah, we don't have anything to stop it from happening twice. So we're going to add another condition, and we're going to do system, and there's something like trigger once while true. I think this will fix it. So let's try that again. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2. Nice.
Perfect.
2.
It does look satisfying.
Yeah, it really is. And I think I want to add the little vertical hop too, but I'm not even sure. I might, after adding it, I might decide it actually looks nicer without it. Oh, there were some other things. Some other things I want to get done. If you notice, when I walk all the way to the end of the level, you see that there? The foreground thing doesn't go the full way. But what I don't want us to have to do is for every level, different levels might be different lengths and stuff like that. I don't want us to have to manually expand that thing to the full width every time we update or make a new level that might be a different width. Right. So what I'm going to do is actually add an event for it. So let's see what this thing is called. Layers FFG. That is called, we're going to call that something better. Front bushes. And we'll do FFG bushes. FFG bushes. Yep. So now what we're going to do is, we know that if you look at the FFG layer, that its horizontal parallax is 150. So it's 1.5 times the speed of the foreground layer. So we can use that information, and we could have something that says on start of layout, we'll just add it right here, and we're going to do FFG bushes, and we're going to do set width 2, and then we're going to retrieve the width of the layout. So I think there's a layout width, and we're going to do times 1.5. So that I'll do a few extra pixels just in case, because we might be sloppy. See how that's hanging off there?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Sloppy graphics.
Exactly. Sloppy level editing. All right. So just gonna quickly make my way over there just to make sure it's working. Can't see how it wouldn't be, but you never know. You dash a sprinkle of fatigue onto your programming session, and all kinds of weird stuff that can happen that turns out not to be weird at all.
Like moonwalking. So.
Exactly.
It looks like it's going on forever.
I think so.
And really forever. I mean,
it's a long level, yep. But I do.
Okay,
look at it. They caught up with me. That was cool. All right. So it did last the whole time. That was cool.
Awesome.
And okay, we can destroy them. So now that the birdmen are able to get hit and be destroyed, it could be a lot of fun to make it so that the flying enemy, when it gets the air, what is it, air bash?
Yeah.
Air bash move, once it's sent flying down, that it could bump the birdman, and then we can decide should it take off 1 hit point of damage, and also, it's also going to bump back the birdman. So we will do that, but before we do that, right now it is the bats, and those bats are going to be used in like a more cave-like sort of level later on in the game. So Corey has done some really beautiful falcon-type bird enemies that we're going to replace with the bats in this first level. So I'm going to go into the Spriter events, and I am going to right-click, and I'm going to clone this object type. So here's that. So we're going to rename Batty2 to Falcon Oh, Falcom. That's a trademark. That's our new company name. Falcom.
I believe that was one of those failed .com companies back in the day or something.
Well, hopefully they don't hold copyright on it anymore. So we are now Falcom. Or if we can call it Failcom. Falcon. There we go. So we have a Falcon and we have Batty. So we need to switch out the art. And we'll keep the behaviors exactly the same for now. So now we just double click and we just have the one flying animation. So we could just, I'll delete out, oh no, we don't even need to. There's an automatic feature for that. Import frames from Sprite Strip. And then it's even in the right folder, which is handy. And I just need to find it. And what did I call it? Did I call it bird? Oh no, it's Falcon. Okay. So it's facing the opposite way than what it's expecting, so remind me to flip it. So 4 frames horizontally, replace entire existing animation, 4, okay, and very nice. That is some beautiful pixel art. Nice job.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to fix the position of the hotspot. So I just fix it in one frame and I right click on it and choose apply to whole animation. And collision box should be perfectly fine. Yep, that's the leftover one from the bat. Oh, and then I need to flip it. So I'm going to, where's flip? Horizontal flip. Horizontal flip. Make sure that did it for all of them. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so we have our Falcon, and now we also need this guy, but as a Falcon. Clone object type, and bashed Falcon. Okay.
And I had updated those frames as we talked about.
Okay,
I wasn't sure if you had them in the right spot or...
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's probably not a big deal at the moment. But.
I think I just got these earlier today, but I could be, my memory could be wrong. Maybe I got it yesterday or something.
I think that is the right one, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that's it.
All right,
okay.
Cool. And then the second one here. Sweet, that looks fantastic. So now we have him. And so now we need to do a bit more work. Let me save. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone this both, let's see, I need to unlock that layer, and I'm going to select the bat spawn right and a bat spawn left once I can find one. There it is. But one at a time. So I'm going to clone object type. So I have that and that. And the reason, but anyway, I'm just going to grab these. Control C. Hey, I said I'm going to, what's going on? Oh, I guess you need to completely surround them with the selector. You can't partially. That's why. Okay, so Control C, Control X, and then I'm going to just paste them here. This is just sort of the place where we hold all of our sprites that we might end up using for now, but that don't belong in the particular layout that we're editing. So now that I made those clones of the bat type enemy spawners, we can rename these to be Falcon spawner, and same thing here, Falcon. So now we've got Falcon spawners in the Falcon layout. This is, yeah, Birdman spawner. Okay, so, but now what we need to do is go into our events. Ah, yes. All right, so now we're going to make it a little, we're going to make the game code universal for flying enemies that can be bashed and walking enemies that walk. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new family under projects. So I'm going to close that. See families here?
Mm-hmm.
Add family, and we're going to add one of the families is going to be the bashed things. So, okay, and then we're going to name that family to bashed enemies. And we're going to add another one. which is going to be called, I guess, humanoid enemies.
Yeah.
Let's see, and that is going to be adding the Birdman spider file. That's the only thing we have for now.
Okay.
So, but this will be called humanoid enemies. Okay, so now what we need to do is go in here, back to the gameplay events, and we're going to select all of the events. We're going to right click and choose replace object, and we're going to replace the baddie. That won't work 100% of the time, but let me think. This one will work. So we'll do Birdman for now. Oh, there's nothing we can replace it with. Interesting. I might have to manually do it later. But the point was going to be that I want the code to be universal, so any walking enemy can get hit with any bashed enemy and get hit back and blow up but I can do it since that code doesn't exist at all yet. I can just do it that way. So let's try that. So we're going to say if a bashed enemy, so BAS, bashed enemy is overlapping another object, and that is going to be a humanoid enemy. Okay, and add another condition. Trigger once while true. So we are going to, we will blow up, so the bashed enemy is going to spawn an object, spawn another object, explosion, layer FG. Okay, that's good. And we're also going to destroy the bashed enemy. Destroy. We are also going to trigger the explosion sound. Play explosion. And we are also going to hurt the Birdman and make him fly back. So that will be right. That's this stuff here. But this is where we want it to be the humanoid enemy instead of Birdman. Mm-hmm. So let me see if, let's see, replace object. Oh, nice. There, that worked. Why didn't it work when I did all events? Replace object. Oh, I remember now. I forgot it works that way. Okay. I can totally fix this now. So here's the issue. When you put something into a family, if you want to check for the instance variables of something, the family itself has its own instance variable sets. So for the humanoid enemies, you'll see family instance variables. Mm-hmm. So that's where we need to put their hit points. And then we will start it at 2. Oops, 2. Alright, oops. Okay, so we'll do hit points. The Z does keep it fresh. Alright, so there is now hit points, and the other thing we have to do is hit points. Search for hit points. So this is for the humanoid enemies, which is Birdman. So we're going to replace this condition. I'll fix the one up higher. Where is that? This. So Birdman, yep. Will it let me do this one? Replace object, yes. Okay, so it's just the variable. So replace action, humanoid.
Okay, I see what you mean, because you're referencing a variable
Right.
that it doesn't have, so it doesn't let you
Right.
add that there. I get it. So it's just kind of a safety measure to make sure you don't accidentally create code bugs and things like that.
Right. And see here,
or redundant code.
Yeah, this is going to be the same problem. Birdman set bullet. So we need the bullet to be a behavior in the family and not in the original sprite. Family behaviors. Bullet. Do you remember? I think the speed was it 40 or was it 60?
For the regular walk?
For the Birdman's walk. I think it was 40.
I think it was 40, yeah.
40, yeah, that's what I thought too. Bullet. Bullet. Right.
Yes.
And 40, no angle. No. So, yeah, sorry, this is taking some backtracking. If I had realized I wanted to make the code this way, I would have put it in a family to begin with and set up its behavior and variable, but I forgot that was a necessary step. Add 10 to score. Call update. Play. Let's see. Birdman set bullet. Okay, so this is the one. Interesting. I wonder if I can replace object. No. Okay, so I need to do it manually. So humanoid. Now I have this to set disabled. And I can delete this. Alright, so now that all of this is better, I can Control C, and I can paste all of this where it belongs in here, which starts here. So this, and this. There we go. So now I need bullet, and that's all fine. Bat is all fine. It is the Birdman. Yep, go ahead.
Are there extra, when you deleted those Birdman pieces of code down there, were there other ones that you needed to delete as well? It looks like you had repeating things there. I'm not sure. Maybe
Oh, that might be the case. I'll double check that in a second.
Like the adding to the score and stuff. I think that shows up twice and things
right.
like that.
Oh yeah, then definitely if that's the case. All right. I fixed this, except this should not be Birdman anymore. This should also be replace object humanoid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's all good. Oh, this is an interesting one. This is right now. Oh, interesting. Can I do it this way? Because this is specifically going to be Birdman entity.
Yeah.
Oh, I can add those into a group too. That should work. That's really interesting. I'll have to try that. Right now it won't break anything because every humanoid entity is a Birdman.
Right.
So it'll work for now. So right now I'll leave that for another time, but I'll have to remember that. So down here, yes, you are correct. There are a bunch of duplicate functions now. It looks like the bullet one is not duplicated. All right.
Yeah, that looks right.
Bashed enemy is overlapping. Oh, actually, it shouldn't be the sprite or object. It should be the body thing, which again we will make. I'll fix this later, but Birdman sprites, this. Done. So bashed enemy, yep. Spawn the explosion, destroy. Play the explosion sound, add to score. Play the bird hit noise. Oh, that could be another issue. We're playing specifically bird hit. Mm-hmm. But I know a way to fix that later too once we have other enemies. We'll worry about that later. Set animation to hit. Subtract 1 from hit points. That's all good now. Oh, the other thing we're going to need, this is a bunch of backtracking, my apologies everyone, is in this family we need that family instance variables. We need what was it? Hit velocity? Oh yeah.
I thought so.
Hit velocity. It's not letting me do it because the regular sprite or sprite or object has that same named variable, so it won't let you create a variable in a sprite that's in the family that's the same name as the variable of the whole family. It doesn't like that. So now we need to find hit velocity. So there it is. So when we are Yeah, see Birdman right here? We need to replace this. Oh, there we go. Replace object. Okay, that's fine. All right. Because it's the box, it's not the Birdman itself. I thought it was the Birdman spriter file, but it is not. So that's all fine, but it's here that is the problem. So we're going to do humanoid, and we're going to do set value, hit velocity, 10, get rid of this, and
escape velocity.
And it's amazing after all of these years the Z does keep it fresh.
It's true. It's never gonna die.
Yeah. Alright, so tune in next video when we make references to wasabi.
Wasabi. Wasabi.
Yeah, so
wasabi.
Birdman, okay. So now this also needs to be replaced. Replace condition. So we're doing humanoid, and we're comparing hit velocity is not equal to 0. Let's see if we can replace this. I don't think I'll be able to replace it. Yep, no, okay. Have to manually do it, so a humanoid.
Does not compute.
Exactly. Okay, so we're setting its X position to its own X position. Where's humanoid? X, and then it's plus, and then it is hit velocity. Alright, so there's that one. And then we are also doing humanoid and set value, hit velocity to itself, hit velocity times 0.8 if I recall, times 0.8. Okay, that is correct. And then here, again, same problem, but I can edit and I can just change this. I'll redo the parentheses, otherwise it's a pain in the butt. And that is going to be humanoid hit velocity. And we're going to set humanoid set value. Where is it? Set value. Hit velocity to 0. Okay. Did I catch everything?
I think so.
It shouldn't really matter yet because the only Birdman, the only humanoid enemy is the Birdman.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just see how much I messed this up. Well, he's not walking, but uh-oh.
Whoa!
That's unfortunate. Okay, this is going to be tricky.
He's hitting the whole family.
It doesn't know how to associate it anymore because I'm referencing a different family now. All right, yeah. That's trouble. All right, so I need to be more tricky with my.
It's fun to watch, though.
Yeah, they're synchronized dancers. Ooh, that was fun. I brought the other one into range, so I managed to hit all three twice with one blow. That's. What do they say? Hitting three birds with one stone. Coming close right now. All right, but we can do a synchronized dance routine now, so that's pretty cool. All right, do 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 do. Okay. You know, actually, it's probably going to take a little while to figure out how to make this all work. Like, I'm trying to make it so that the same code will work for all enemies and all levels, which is probably possible, but it's going to take some experimentation, which could take a while. So instead of trying to wrap that up in this particular video. I think it's a good idea to just get the bats being spawned instead of the falcons being spawned instead of the bats in this level, and then just make it so specifically the falcon for now can hit the birdman and have that effect on him. So, and then I'll get back into figuring this stuff out later when we both have more time and energy. So let me clear that, and let's just find spawn. And right now we have these falcon spawners, that's correct, but they're spawning baddie. So what we can do is just, I should be able to select all and replace all baddies in this case. Place object baddie with falcon. There, that worked. So now it's all going to be falcons in this level. That was painless. And bashed enemy, we will place object bashed enemy with the bashed falcon. Oh, that's the other thing we need to do. Bashed. He's gonna transform into a bashed bat.
Right.
So we need to replace object. And for now, we're gonna simply replace bashed bat with bashed falcon. Fantastic. So now it's all falcon and bat. No more bat. And then is bashed falcon overlapping birdman box, then this. And actually, for now, it should still let me. That's a good point. So that is still convenient. Even if we can't just use the same code, we can now copy and place and just replace the this with the particular enemy. So that's not too bad. This should be the falcon, the bashed falcon. Replace the object, bashed enemies. Oops, damn it. Replace object. At least we know it works. Bashed bat, bashed falcon. Okay. And then so here, humanoid, all this stuff, we will replace that again with birdman. And if we do that same thing quickly, Control A, replace object. For now, we can just replace all humanoid with birdman. And now everything, I think, should be working like it used to. Like, I can't synchronize dance with the whole dance troupe of birdmen, which is both a shame and for the better. Nice, look at those.
All right.
Good looking birds. There we go.
Yeah.
That'll be nice to clobber him right in the head.
I know you wanted it.
Yeah, exactly. Take that. All right, cool. All right, we're back on track. So now we do have this bashed falcon overlapping It sends it back. It gives the score. I didn't even test it yet, but it's something I can do now. Let's just really quickly spawn one of these guys all the sooner so that we can start testing more quickly. And I always forget which button is which because I used to have the nice... Oops. Come on. It reminds me I have to fix the controls or this is going to be tough. By the way, viewers, I did realize I had blamed the Xbox controller the other day. That was fun. No high jump. Yeah, let me restart. I was blaming the Xbox controller the other day, but it turns out there's just a bug in the input code that I had made that is making diagonals. Man, this is frustrating. I'll cut some of this out so it's less annoying to the viewers. All right, come on. Super jump, hit. No, okay, I have to wait longer. 5 hours later. Come on. This is way harder than it's. I'm telling you, I've played video games before. This is the bug in the code causing a much more difficult. 50th time is the charm. All right, so that was only excruciating. Okay, so we know it's mostly working, but the only issue was we are not doing the check yet for which side it hits him on and making it slide a certain way. And in fact, I think I just want to do it so it just depends on the direction, the velocity direction of the thing. Let me think. What do you think would be better? Like, let's say it's coming at that steep diagonal, but it kind of hits him in the back of the head, in passing. Should it make him slide in the direction of all of his velocity, or because it hit him in the back of the head, should he slide forward? I think it should be based on the velocity of the thing and not on where it hits the Birdman. Let's try it that way first, and then
that's what I'm thinking too.
If we don't like it, we can always... Okay, so what we need to do is find that hit velocity. We'll copy these. We'll clear it. We'll go down to this event, and we will paste it and drag it in as sub-events. But now we need to replace this. Oh yeah, we'll just change the logic entirely to replace condition, and we're going to check bashed falcon. Yeah, we need to check its vector x. So we need this, compare two values. There it is. So first value is going to be the bashed falcon's vector x. So if it is greater than 0, that means it's going to the right. So that is correct. And then we can just copy and paste this, drag it in, delete this, and then make this say less than. And there's never a case where it's 0. So like they always will go in one diagonal or another. So that should be good. So let's see. And expect viewers to see some more sped up footage of me trying 5 million times to get this to work. All right. Brace yourself for the frustration. Okay. Yes, he slid back. Okay.
All right.
That's all working. All right. Oh, they're not dying though. Okay, there's a problem with hit points, as you see. So I think what happened was, if I search for hit points with an S, TS, Birdman, hit velocity, Birdman hit points. See that? We're supposed to be we're never subtracting from hit points anymore. We're subtracting from hit points. So we need to replace condition, and it's going to be Birdman and compare instance value variable hit points is less or equal to 0. Okay, now he should be able to die again. So now that we've done that, in order for things to not be really confusing, I'm going to go in here, and in the regular instance variables that are not the family instance variables, we're going to delete the ones that we can't use anymore. Plus, we haven't used this at all yet. So we're going to delete that, delete this, and delete this. But now when we click on it, we have still hit points, hit velocity, and we'll add a y velocity later if we so choose.
Okay.
All right. So we've got the vector x going. We do subtract from the hit points, so you can theoretically destroy a Birdman by whacking him with a flying falcon, which would be kind of fun. And then when he's done sliding back, he'll blow up. I kind of like that too, how it makes... That way both sound effects don't have to happen at the same time. Both the explosion from the bat and the explosion from the Birdman himself dying. You get to appreciate him sliding back and squealing before he dies. I think that's just more rewarding to the player. All right, so...
Appreciate the squealing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. Alright, so hide camera, clean up the buttons. Let's see, I made the bird functionality work. And, oh, yes. So one last thing. If you're up for it, let's make the Birdman attack the player.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I am going to set up a few preliminary values in the family itself for humanoid enemies. And that is going to be... What variable do I need? Oh, attack range. So we'll do X attack range and Y attack range. So we'll make this, we'll say 60 pixels. This is a complete guess. And then we're also going to make a Y attack range. And we will make that more like 90 pixels, another complete guess. And attack like frequency. How do you spell again? I got it. I just typoed. I was kidding. So attack frequency. So what we're going to do is we're going to generate a number, a random number from like 1 to 10. And if the number is lower than this attack frequency number, then it will attack every so many portions of a second if it's within range.
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll make it 10, and we'll make the Birdman something like 4. Yeah, we'll give it a 4 for now. And as always, we'll get the logic working, and then we'll tweak the numbers to work best for gameplay.
Right.
All right, so now we are going, and I'm starting to make the code really messy. I'm not putting them in careful groups and commenting them. So another thing I'll probably do off video when we're not recording is just take these same events and just put them in nice groups, like, you know, Birdman attacks player, or just Birdman in general and stuff like that. But for now, just to get things done quickly, I will just keep making a mess, and I'll clean up the mess later. So now we are going to do a, if the Birdman is animation playing, compare current animation, we'll make it walk. So if he's playing the walk animation, and add another condition, we're going to compare two values. Compare two values. And the first value is going to be the absolute value of the player control box. Player box is X, not vector X, just regular X, minus the position of the Birdman himself. So where is Birdman? I can never find it. There he is. Birdman X. So the player's X minus Birdman X, that's going to give me either a negative or positive number, but it'll tell me the exact pixel distance between the two. And so that has to be less than or equal to the Birdman's X attack range. So if he's within range to attack, he's playing the walk animation, and we're going to do every so many portions of a second. So system, every so many seconds, we'll make it twice a second for now. We'll do 4 times a second. So every 4 times a second, and then we're going to compare another 2 variables, so we can literally copy this and paste it and then just edit. And we're going to do random 10, so this generates a random number with a maximum value of 10. I think by default it does decimals also, but that doesn't really matter, because we're doing is less than or equal to Birdman's Birdman attack frequency. Where is that? Attack frequency. Okay, so we have that, and now we are going to change Birdman's animation. Let's see, animation, play, wait a minute, set animation, play from start, correct, and this is punch with a lowercase p. Okay, so He's walking. Oh, the other thing we should do is he shouldn't keep sliding forward while he attacks. So we need to take his... Oh yeah, and we have to make sure that I have to delete this bullet behavior. We should always be using the family version. So remind me of that, set enabled to disabled. Okay, and then one more thing we need to do is I already have an event with the Birdman on animation hit finished. He goes back to walk. So we're just going to copy that. We're going to paste it down here, and we're going to change that to punch. Punch. So when he's done attacking, he will go back to walk, and he'll start walking again.
Okay.
Alright, and what I need to do now, let's just go in here and clean this up by getting rid of that extra bullet behavior that we no longer need. Okay, and let's check if this is working. Doopy-doopy-doo. Oh, they're walking backwards, okay.
Oh, no.
Well, let's get in range and see if he attacks. Yes, okay.
Ah, yeah.
The range is too short, but it's working beautifully. We also need to make... Alright, so the reason for that was when we spawn Birdman, I never fixed that code. Alright, we'll do create, actually. Oh, no, I think it's spawn. Let's see... Birdman spawn. See right here, we were still controlling its built-in bullet behavior instead of the family one. So we need to set its angle of motion to 180 again. And that should have fixed that issue. And we will quickly also fix the attack range, which is a family value. So X attack range, we will make it more like, nearly doubling it is probably pretty good, but we'll make it 100 for now. Okay.
BitBeamCannon, we are all about family values here.
That is true. We are also a subsidiary of Falcom. There. Oh, now the range is too high. Oh, that was good.
Yeah, it's...
Oh, I see. The range actually was good before. It's just that because it's only he's only going to do it maybe once every 4 times a second, that he was able to walk closer before he decided to attack. So that's an issue. And I know what I'll do. I'll make it so one will make it more frequently. That will certainly help. So where is that? Clear. So here, we'll make it 10 times a second instead of 4 times a second. And if we want later on, we can also add a thing so that the Birdman is guaranteed to, yeah, let's see. I am going to really quickly tweak the attack range again. X attack range, we'll make it more like, we'll do 90. But then also, we are going to make it so that... you know what, that's fine for now. We can tweak that at our leisure. But the last thing we should do is make it so the player can actually get hurt. So hit. And... get hurt. Here we go. Okay. So we're just going to copy and paste that, and we're going to replace the Falcon sprite. Oh, this is where you pick the thing you're replacing. I'm sorry. So we're replacing that with Birdman Sprite's attack. So if the attack box is overlapping the player's body box and the hero is not flashing, so he's not invulnerable, then you make him get hit. And then right here we need to do the same thing. We're replacing the Falcon sprite with that attack box.
Okay.
So... nice. Nice. All right, well that works. We've got a humanoid enemy that actually takes 2 hits. Yeah, he's going to be a lot harder to kill now, that's for sure. All right.
Yeah, he may need a little bit of a delay on his
right, exactly.
rare back, you know.
Yep. Yeah, I can just build that right into the animation, so that you have time to like sneak in and. There we go. All right, and I think next video we will do that, and we will also make it so the bash will actually kill him with 1 hit if you get him right in the head with the air bash. That'll be kind of cool. So I think, let me just quickly check my list that I had made. Yeah, that's it. That's all that was on the list. We can stop it now. So that's the plan for next time. We'll make it so that we can also spawn them coming from the other side. Eventually, we'll probably want to make it so that enemies, at least the walking enemies, will turn around if you get on the other side of them. So we'll do that kind of stuff. We'll just continue improving the gameplay. And hopefully, in between this recording and next video, I'll have figured out what we're going to do about that whole situation with the code, whether or not I want to try to make it universal for all types of humanoid enemies and all types of flying enemies and stuff like that. But anyway, that will be it for this video. Thanks everyone for watching.